Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Sandhya Gunnal, and I'm discussing here the topic of histology of lip, tooth, and tongue. The oral cavity consists of the lips, teeth, and tongue. Okay, so first we'll discuss about the lips. The lips consists of an external surface lined by skin and the internal surface lined by the mucous membrane, and centrally placed there is the skeletal muscle called as orbicularis oris. The external and the internal surfaces meet at the free border of the lip, which is also called as the red margin. Okay, so the layman people think that whatever this red margin is the lip on which we apply the lipstick. Okay, so here these lips are not just the red margin, but this is the fleshy fold which is forming the boundary or the oral fissure. So here in the picture one can find out here these are the lips. This is the sagittal section passing through the oral cavity, showing the lips. Here the upper lip, lower lip present there. In the lip here, this outer border it is lined by the skin, and here this inner border it is lined by the mucous membrane, as that of whole of this oral cavity internally or oral cavity it is lined by the mucous membrane. Okay, so here these lips, these are forming the boundary of the oral cavity, so on the inner aspect it is lined by the mucous membrane, and here at this side here there is the junction of this outer and the inner surface. So this is the free edge of the lip. So this free edge of the lip, this layman people thinks that this is the only lip, but this is not. A whole of this fold present here, that is the lip, which is on outer side lined by the skin, and on inner side it is lined by the mucous membrane. And here in the center there is the core of muscle. The name of the muscle is the orbicularis oris. Okay, so this is the orbicularis oris muscle, and whatever this part present here, whatever this border seen here, this is called as the mucocutaneous junction. This is the mucocutaneous junction, that the mucous membrane from the inner aspect comes here and the skin is there on the outer aspect. So this is the mucocutaneous junction, and here this is the transitional zone. This red zone which is seen here, this is the transitional zone. As this part, inner aspect of this part, there are the numerous blood vessels present there. That's why this looks pinkish or reddish in color in the thin skin person. Okay, so this is the lip. This border present here, it is called as vermilion border, or it is also called as the mucocutaneous junction. Okay, so we'll see the structure of the lip histologically, how it looks like. So here this is the lip. So this is the longitudinal section passing through the lip. Okay, so on one side it is lined by the skin, that is the on the outer aspect, and on one side it is lined by the mucous membrane. So here in the picture here, how to identify this, the outer aspect and the inner aspect. Okay, so here this central core, it is formed by the muscle, and on one side it is lined by the mucous membrane, and on one side it is lined by the skin. Okay, so we are knowing the skin and we are knowing the mucous membrane, that the skin is lined by the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Okay, so here this is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, and here this is the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay, so this is the inner aspect of the lip, and this is the outer aspect of the lip. This is the outer aspect of the lip. Okay, so here this outer aspect, the skin, the epithelium, it is very much thin as compared to this inner aspect. Okay, inner aspect, the mucous membrane, it is very much thicker as compared to this outer aspect. Okay, so here outer aspect, there is the presence of the skin. So naturally whatever the skin present on other aspect from other side here, it shows here the hair follicles, the roots of the hair follicles present there. So here these are the hair follicles. Number of hair follicles are seen here just inside that of the epidermis, that is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. So here this is the epidermis, this is the lining epithelium, and deep to that there is the presence of the dermis. In the dermis one can find out here there are the number of hair roots present here. Okay, there are number of hair roots seen here. After the dermis present there, there is the connective connective tissue. In this connective tissue, one can find out here there are the number of glands present there. Here, this is the erector pylori muscle in relation with the hair root. Along with that, there are number of glands present there. The number of glands seen here, these are the sweat glands, and that of the sebaceous glands are seen here. Okay, so here the number of glands are there, the sebaceous and sweat glands are there, then the hair root hair follicles are seen here in relation with this outer aspect, which is lined by the skin, the epithelium lining the skin, that is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. This is along with the hair roots, sebaceous glands, sweat glands are present here along with this. Okay, so this is the outer surface. Now here this is the inner surface present here. The inner surface is lined by the thick epithelium, that is the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. So this epithelium lines whole of the inner aspect of the oral cavity. Whole of the oral cavity is lined by this epithelium. So here this inner surface of the lip is having the same epithelium, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay. Now here this epithelium, it is showing here this thick part, and just inside here there are the connective tissue. This connective tissue, it shows the dermal papillae. It shows that like that of the dermal papillae here. This system, it is called as Reti-Ridge system. This system is called as Reti-Ridge system. In that here there are the presence of the papillae. This papillae, this dermis which is present over there, it is locking the mucous membrane present here. The mucous membrane, it is kept in position due to this interlocking arrangement of that of the papillae. Okay, so this is called as the Reti-Ridge system. Okay, so this is the presence of the epithelium. Underneath this there is the connective tissue. So here this connective tissue, it is a loose connective tissue, and in this connective tissue here one can find out there are the number of glands present in it. There are no hair follicles seen here, there are no sweat glands, sebaceous glands seen here on the inner aspect, but there are the presence of the number of labial salivary glands. So these labial glands present there, these are serous in nature, and these are also the mucus in nature. Okay, so these glands which are present here, they keep the mucosa moist. They doesn't allow the mucosa to get drier. Okay, so that is the function of this epithelium and underlying glands within it. Okay, now here this portion present here, at this side here the mucous membrane is present there. This is the portion of the mucous membrane present here. This is the lining portion of the skin present here. So at this point present here, at this point here, there is the vermilion border. This vermilion border, this is also called as the mucocutaneous junction, and this is the transitional zone present here. This portion present here, whatever the red zone, that is also called as the transitional zone. From this transitional zone here, the epithelium which is stratified squamous keratinized, now here it is becoming the thick mucous membrane. Okay, so here this is the transitional zone. When we see this portion, this free edge of the lip, underneath that one can find out there are the numerous blood vessels seen. So these numerous blood vessels, they appear the reddish in color. Their region reflects here, the color of these red blood vessels reflects here, so that this is the red zone. Okay, underneath that here, the central core which is present here, there are the number of muscular fibers. These are cut longitudinally as well as these are cut transversely present here. So this is the muscle, that is the orbicularis oris muscle. This is the sphincter of the mouth. Okay, so this is running circularly surrounding the mouth or the oral cavity. So here this portion present here, this is the transversely cut. Okay, so this is the muscular part present here. The slide of the lip is very easy, that it is a fold present here. This is a fold present here. This is the free edge called as the red zone or the transitional zone. The central core is formed by the muscle, the orbicularis oris muscle. Outer aspect, it is lined by the skin with the hair follicles, sebaceous and sweat glands are there within it. Inner aspect, it is lined by the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Underneath that there are the number of serous and the mucous glands. Okay, so this is regarding the lip. Now we'll go to the next part present here. The next part of the today's topic, that is, these are the teeth. So teeth, these are present in the oral cavity. These teeth, these are articulated here with the alveolar process. These are present in the sockets of the alveolar process formed by the maxilla and the mandible. Okay, so whatever the portion present here, the teeth, it is formed by three parts present there. It is formed by the crown, root and the neck. Okay, so this is the general idea regarding the tooth, that it is formed by the visible portion present here, that visible portion present here, whatever the visible part of the tooth, it is called as the crown. Okay, then whatever the part of the teeth which is embedded within this alveolar process lined by the mucous membrane forming the gum, so here this portion, it is called as the root of the teeth. The junction between the crown and that of the root of the teeth, it is called as the neck. So here is the neck. This visible part of the tooth, it is called as the crown, and this part which is embedded within the alveolar process, that is called as the root. Okay, so these are the three different parts of the teeth. The next, again the general structure of the tooth. What are the different parts of the tooth that we'll see here? So the major portion of the tooth, it is formed by the dentine. Okay, the major portion of the tooth, it is formed by the dentine. So here in the picture, this creamish yellowish structure seen here, that is the dentine. It is the main part of the tooth. Okay, so here this yellowish, that is the dentine. It is also present in the crown and it is also present in the root. Okay, then next part present here, that is the enamel. The enamel is the hard portion that is covering the dentine which is present in the crown. So the crown part of the dentine is covered by this enamel. So this white structure seen here, that is the enamel. Okay, so this is the enamel. The next structure present here, that is the pulp cavity. Okay, so the pulp cavity, it is present within the dentine. In the dentine, in the center, there is a cavity that is called as the pulp cavity. The pulp cavity shows the presence of the numerous blood vessels and nerves within it. So these numerous blood vessels and nerves, these are passing here through a small aperture, small canal present here at the apex of the root. These this canal is there. This canal is called as the apical canal. Here the canal is present there. That is the apical canal. Okay, after that the next part present here, that is the cementum. Okay, so here the crown part of the dentine, it is covered by the enamel. Just like the same here, the root part of the dentine, it is covered by a structure which is similar to that of the bone, that is called as the cementum. This cementum here, this brown structure which is seen here, that is the cementum. It is continuous with that of the enamel, but it is covering the only root portion of the dentine. That cementum, it is connected here with the alveolar process by a fibrous material called as the periodontal membrane. That is called as the periodontal membrane. Okay, so I will repeat here what are the structures present here. So this creamish in color, the major part of the tooth, it is formed by the dentine. The crown portion of the dentine, it is covered by again a thick material which is called as the enamel, white in color. Here the pulp cavity, it is the cavity within the dentine. Whatever this brown cavity seen here within the dentine, that is the pulp cavity. The pulp cavity shows the presence of the numerous blood vessels and nerves within it. These blood vessels and nerves vessels, these are passing here, nerves passing through here the canal called as root canal. The canal shows one aperture here called as the apical canal, and the root portion of the dentine, it is covered by a tissue which is similar like that of the bone, that is called as the cementum, and the cementum is attached here to the alveolar process by a fibrous material, that is the periodontal membrane. Okay, so we have seen here the number of general parts of the tooth. Now we'll see each and every part in detail. So first we'll see the dentine. Okay, so first we'll see here the dentine. Dentine, it is a hard material like that of a bone. Okay, it is a hard material like that of the bone. Here this is the section passing through the tooth. It is showing here the enamel, dentine and the pulp cavity. Here I would like to introduce what are the three different parts here in the picture. So here this part present here, that is the enamel, whitish in color. Whatever this pinky, the yellowish portion present over there, that is the dentine, that is the major part of the tooth. And here this brown cavity seen here in the center of the dentine, that is the pulp cavity. Okay, so these are the three parts. Now in this picture we want to find out here what are the detailed structures of the dentine. Okay, so here this is the dentine, this yellowish is the dentine part present there. So dentine, it is a hard material having similarity to the bone. Okay, it is composed of 80% of inorganic salts. These salts, these are made up of the hydroxyapatite crystals. It is made up of the hydroxyapatite crystals, and there are 20% of organic matter. It is formed by the type 1 collagen fibers and other proteins. Okay, so this is the composition of the dentine, how it is formed. It is formed by the 80% of inorganic salts and 20% of organic matter. Organic matter is formed by the collagen fibers and the protein, while that of the inorganic matter, it is formed by the crystals of the hydroxyapatite. Okay, so this is the presence of the dentine present here. This dentine, it is in the form of the dentine tubules. Here there are the presence of the dentine tubules. Okay, so these dentine tubules, they show the presence of the protoplasmic processes. Okay, so these protoplasmic processes, they are present here within the dentine and they are forming the dentine tubules. These protoplasmic processes, these are the processes of that of the odontoblast cells. So these odontoblast cells, these are the odontoblast cells, they cover here the pulp cavity. These odontoblast cells, these are simple columnar cells. They line the outer aspect of the pulp cavity. They are present at the junction of the pulp cavity and that of the dentine. So these odontoblast cells, they show the protoplasmic processes. These protoplasmic processes are longer. They radiate out from that of the pulp cavity and enter within the dentine, and they form the dentine tubules. These dentine tubules, these are surrounded by the organic material. These form the dentine tubular sheath. Okay, so here this dentine, it is formed by the dentine tubules, and then dentine tubules, these are surrounded by the dentine tubular sheath. Okay, so this is the structure of that of the dentine. These dentine tubules, these protoplasmic processes, they passes here through these odontoblast processes. They are forming the dentine tubules and they reach here to the enamel. And in the enamel, they also reach here within the enamel, this the portion which is surrounding here the dentine, and they are called as enamel spicules. I repeat again here, this dentine, it is formed by the dentine tubules. These dentine tubules constitutes the protoplasmic processes. The protoplasmic processes, these are given off from that of the odontoid cells, odontoblast cells. The odontoblast cells, these are the simple columnar cells lining the pulp cavity. From these dentine tubules, they reach over here up to the dentato-enamel junction. They pass here through the proximal part of the enamel and they are forming the enamel spindles. Okay, and these dentine tubules, they reach here at the part of the root and they form the granular layer of the tomes. Okay, so this is regarding the dentine. We have seen these different parts of the dentine. That dentine is made up of the dentine tubules and the tubular sheath. This formation of the dentine divides the dentine into three different parts. The three different parts are the predentine, circumpulpal dentine and the mantle dentine. Okay, I repeat here again, the predentine, circumpulpal dentine and the mantle dentine. Okay, so here the whatever the newly formed layer which shows the absence of the mineralization. So here this is surrounding the pulp cavity. Here the pulp cavity is there. Here the odontoblast cells are there. So here these odontoblast cells, they lie down here the dentine material. So this dentine material which is newly formed here, this is lining the pulp cavity and this is called as the predentine, which is here faint green in color, that is the predentine material. Okay, after that here this yellowish structure which is forming the dentine tubules and the peritubular sheaths here. So this dentine tubule, this yellowish in color, this is called as circumpulpal dentine. And whatever the dentine material which is at the dentato enamel junction, here this green in color, this is the this is called as the mantle dentine. Okay, so this mantle dentine, it is less mineralized. Here this is no mineralization, that is the premature dentine, that is called as the predentine. Here the circumpulpal dentine, and here this is the mantle dentine. Okay, so these are the three parts of the dentine. Okay, so we have seen here the dentine in detail. Now we'll go to the next structure, that is the enamel. The enamel is the hardest substance present in the body. It is the hardest substance, it is harder than that of the bone. So it is the hardest substance present in the body. It is hardest due to the presence of the 99% of the inorganic salts within it. These inorganic salts, these are in the form of hydroxyapatite crystals. Okay, these are in the form of hydroxyapatite crystals. These hydroxyapatite crystals, these are in the form of enamel rods or the prisms. These hydroxyapatite crystals, these are some of the longer cells present there. So due to the long shape, these are called as enamel rods, or these are called as enamel prisms. So here in the picture we have seen that here this white material present here, that is the enamel. It is the hardest substance present in the body. It is hard due to the presence of the 99% of the inorganic salts. These are in the form of hydroxyapatite crystals. These hydroxyapatite crystals, these are in the form of longer cells. These are called as enamel rods, or these are called as prisms. Okay, so these are the enamel rods or the prisms present there. These enamel rods or the prisms, these are covered by this rest of the 1% substance, that is forming the prismatic rod or the prismatic sheath, prismatic rod sheath, or these are called as intercremental tissue. This is the intercremental tissue. Okay, so these are chromatic rods present over there. These are forming the prisms. Within these prisms here, there is the interprismatic tissue which is forming the interprismatic rod sheath. So here whole of this material which is present over there, it looks white, it looks similar. Only the difference present in between these sheath and that of the rods or the prisms is that the rods or the prisms, they show the presence of the hydroxyapatite crystals, and whatever the sheath present there, it shows the absence of the hydroxyapatite crystals. Okay, so here the enamel, it is formed by this 99% of the hydroxyapatite crystals in the form of these enamel rods or the prisms. These are covered by the prismatic sheath. This enamel, it is led by the ameloblast cells. So ameloblast cells, these are lining here the surface of the enamel. In the developing tooth, here the surface of this enamel, it is lined by the ameloblast cells. These ameloblast cells lay down the enamel. These lay down the enamel present over there, and once the enamel is deposited here on the teeth, in the mature teeth, these ameloblast cells, they get wear off. Okay, once these cells get wear off, then there is no further formation of the enamel. So enamel is the structure which is formed only once. It is formed by these ameloblast cells which are covering the enamel as a epithelial membrane. Okay, so ameloblast cells wear off after the formation of the enamel, and they never returns, and thus there is no further deposition of the enamel is possible. Okay, so the ameloblast cells, these are not present in the mature teeth. Okay, so once these ameloblast cells, these are depositing here the enamel, this formation of the enamel, it is formed in the line in the zone which is at right angles to that of the dentine tubules and right angles to that of the hydroxyapatite crystals. Here, this is the formation present over there. This is the right angles to that of the dentine tubules and that of the hydroxyapatite crystals present here in the form of these rods. So here these are the lines present over there, the formation of the enamel. These are forming the lines. These are called as counter lines of Retzius. Here these are the counter lines of the Retzius. These are right angles to that of the dentine tubules and the rods, hydroxyapatite rods or the prisms. Okay, so we have seen here the enamel. We have seen the enamel and the dentine, which are forming the larger portion of the tooth, and these are the hardest, both are the hardest material present in the body. Okay, so enamel is the hardest substance present in the body, and after that there is the dentine. So we have seen these two parts of the tooth. Then we'll go to the next part present there. That part is the cementum. Okay, that part present here after the enamel, that we'll see, that is the cementum. The cementum, it is the tissue, it is similar to that of the bone. Okay, it is similar to that of the bone. And how the enamel, it is covering the dentine, the crown part of the dentine. The cementum, it covers the root part of the dentine. Okay, so here this portion present here, it is the cementum. It is covering the dentine in the root. Okay, so it is just like that of the bone. It is mineralized. The main organic component present in the cementum is the collagen and that of the proteoglycans. The collagen and proteoglycans, they are present here in the cementum. It contains the cementocytes, just like that of the osteocytes present in the bone. In the cementum, there are the cementocytes present in the lacunae. So the structure of the bone, try to remember the structure of the bone, that is the lamellae and lacunae, these are there in the bone. So here in the cementum, there are the lacunae which are present over there, the lamellae and lacunae. So the lacunae, in the lacunae of the cementum, there are the presence of the cementocytes. This is the avascular structure. Here the cementum is present, it is the avascular structure. Whatever here, this root portion of the dentine from the inner aspect here, the outer aspect here, this cementum is present, which is covering the root portion of the dentine. And this cementum, it is highly adherent with that of the alveolar process. The cementum, it is covered by that of the periodontal membrane, that is the fibrous tissue. This fibrous tissue, it anchors the cementum to that of the alveolar process. Okay, so this is the structure of the cementum. Okay, now after the cementum, we'll discuss about the periodontal membrane. The periodontal membrane, it is the periodontal ligament. It connects the cementum to the bone of the alveolar socket. It is made up of the both loose and the dense connective tissue. Okay, the dense connective tissue forms the bulk of the periodontal ligament. The loose connective tissue provide the passage for that of the blood vessels and nerves. Besides providing the attachment and support to the tooth, the periodontal membrane helps the bone for the remodeling during the eruption of the tooth. Okay, so here is the periodontal membrane. The periodontal membrane, it is made up of the loose and the dense connective tissue. It is covering that of the cementum. It is anchoring the cementum to that of the bone. Besides that, it also gives a passage for the blood vessels and nerves passing here through the root canal. Okay, and these, after the eruption of the tooth and after the falling down of the tooth, whatever the remodeling of the bone, in which this periodontal ligament helps. The next part present there, the cavity within that of the bone, that is called as the dental pulp. Okay, so here this brown cavity seen here, that is the dental pulp. What is this brown cavity seen here? That is the dental pulp. This is the dental pulp, this cavity of the dentine. The pulp of the pulp on its periphery has a layer of cells called as odontoblast. Here these layers present here, these are the odontoblasts which are present at the junction of this pulp cavity and that of the dentine. Okay, so these are the odontoblast cells. The central portion of the pulp consists of the fibroblast, macrophages, mast cells, collagen fibers, and large amount of ground substance. So this large amount of ground substance, it is like that of the embryonic connective tissue. This embryonic connective tissue, the jelly like substance is present there. Then these star shaped cells are present there. Okay, so these star shaped cells, that these are present in this ground substance of the pulp. The neurovascular bundles are present within the pulp cavity. They form a network within the pulp cavity just beneath the layer of the odontoblast cells. These are supplied by supplying the odontoblast cells. And further, these nerve fibers forming the network contact the cell body of the odontoblast and also travel within the dentine tubules. Because of this reason, the dentine is highly sensitive to pain. Okay, so here this whatever the vessels and nerves and the vessels which are present in the pulp cavity, they supply the odontoblast and they also supply the dentine tubules, and that is the reason why this dentine, it is highly sensitive to pain. Okay, so we have seen all the structures present there: the enamel, the dentine, then the pulp cavity, cementum, and the periodontal membrane. Okay, so this is the structure, or this is the histological picture of the tooth, of a dry tooth present there. In that, here one can find out what are the structures seen here. This cavity, this is the pulp cavity. Here this is the dentine material, and this is the enamel present there. Okay, so enamel, it is the hardest substance. Here this is the dentine in the form of the tubules present here. This is the lines of the red sears present there. These are the dentine tubules present there, radiating from that of the pulp cavity. Here the pulp cavity, it is lined by the cells called as the odontoblast cells. The odontoblast cells send the protoplasmic processes within the dental tubules. These protoplasmic processes, they reach here at the dentato-enamel junction, and they are forming the enamel spindles. Okay, and in the enamel there are the rods, the charismatic rods present there, and in the intercharismatic rods there are these are arranged at the lines of the ridges. Okay, so this is the structure present here. This is the granular layer of tomes. This is the granular layer of tomes which is present there. This is just like that of the bony tissue which is present. Okay, cementum is present there. Here is the root canal, and the root canal opens at the apical canal. So this is the structure of the tooth that we have seen. Okay, so this tooth, the slide of the tooth, it is again the unstained structure like that of the bone. So don't get confused here with the bone and that of the tooth. A lot of differences there in the bone and the tooth that we have seen here. The enamel, dentine, and the pulp cavity, these are the structures seen here. Only the tubules which are running from the pulp cavity, here these are running here. Don't confuse this structure with the lamellae of the bone. Okay, so here these are the structures: enamel, dentine, and that of the pulp cavity with the root canal. Okay, the next structure that we want to see, that is the tongue. Okay, so tongue is the fleshy organ. The tongue is the muscular organ present there. The tongue is entirely made up of the muscles. The muscles are running in different direction. Okay, so here this is the section passing through the tongue. Here the section passing through the tongue. This is the sagittal section. This is the nasal cavity present here. This is the palate. Here is the oral cavity. In the oral cavity, the main structure, the muscular structure seen here, that is the tongue. This tongue is having the tip. Here this is the base of the tongue. Here this is the dorsal surface of the tongue, and here this is the ventral surface of the tongue. Okay, so tongue lies in the oral cavity. So it is lined by the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. So here this ventral surface of the tongue, it is very much smoother, but this dorsal surface of the tongue, as it shows the number of papillae, it is rough in nature. Okay, so we'll see these, what are the structures present here in the dorsum of the tongue. The dorsum of the tongue, it is divided into the anterior 2/3 part, which is called as the oral part, and it has the posterior 1/3 part, which is called as the pharyngeal part. Okay, so this is the section passing through the tongue that we have seen. Now this is the surface view of the tongue. Okay, in the surface view of the tongue, we'll see the divisions of the dorsum of the tongue. Okay, so these divisions of the dorsum of the tongue, these are formed by a V-shaped line or V-shaped sulcus called as the sulcus terminalis. Okay, so here this is the sulcus terminalis. This is the central part of the sulcus terminalis. Behind that there is the presence of the foramen caecum. From that, here anterolaterally there are the presence of this limbs of the V. These are the V-shaped sulcus. These are called as this is called as the sulcus terminalis. The sulcus terminalis divides the tongue into the anterior 2/3 part called as the oral part of the tongue, and it is also called as the papillary part of the tongue, as it shows the number of papillae. Here this is the posterior 1/3 part of the tongue, that is the pharyngeal part of the tongue. It forms the floor of the it forms the floor of the tongue. It is related to the pharynx here, oropharynx, so it is the pharyngeal part of the tongue. Okay, so here in this part there are the presence of the lymphoid tissue buried in it, and that's why it is called as the lymphoid part of the tongue. Okay, so it is the lymphoid part of the tongue. Lingual tonsils are present in this. So this is the lymphoid part of the tongue, and this anterior 2/3 part bears the papillae, so it is called as the papillary part of the tongue. I repeat again here, the anterior 2/3 portion, it is the oral part, and the posterior 1/3 part, it is the pharyngeal part. The pharyngeal part constitutes the lingual tonsils. Anterior 2/3 part shows the papillary processes. Okay, so here this is a section passing through the tongue. This is the section passing through the tongue. This is the apex of the tongue. Here this is the dorsal surface of the tongue, and here is the ventral surface of the tongue. This is the ventral surface of the tongue. Okay, so here the central core of the tongue, it is formed by the number of muscles. So here this is the tongue, as it is the muscular organ. There are number of muscles present in it. Here the longitudinal muscles are there. Here the transverse section of the muscles are there. Along with the muscles, here one can find out here there are the other tissue. These are the glands which are present over there. The glands, adipose tissue, these are also present here in the tongue. Here this is the epithelium of the tongue, that is a stratified squamous non-keratinized. Underlying the epithelium here there is the lamina propria, in which there is the presence of the connective tissue. In addition with this dorsal part of the tongue, as it is the anterior 2/3 part of the tongue, it shows the number of papillae. Here you can find out this number of projections present here. These are nothing but the papillae. Whatever the pointed papillae, these are called as the filiform papillae, and whatever this rounded papillae, these are called as the fungiform papillae. So we'll go to see the whatever the papillae present over there. Okay, so there are the presence of the papillae present in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. The body of the tongue on its dorsal surface is covered by the specialization of the epithelium called as lingual papillae. The lingual papillae are the projections of the lamina propria covered by the stratified squamous epithelium, which may be keratinized or which may not be keratinized, or it may be parakeratinized. Okay, so this is the epithelium of the tongue, the dorsal surface of the tongue, showing the number of papillae within it. Okay, so this is the three-dimensional feature of the tongue. This is a schematic diagram of the tongue showing the different papillae. So here this is the anterior 2/3 portion of the tongue. Here this is the posterior 1/3 portion of the tongue. Here these are the papillae present there. Here the filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, and circumvallate papillae are there. Okay, so here in this portion, this is the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. This is the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Okay, so in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, whatever this pointed papillae seen here, these are the filiform papillae. Okay, whatever the rounded top papillae, these are the fungiform papillae. And there are the circumvallate papillae, which are circular in nature. These are buried in the substance of the tongue, and these are exactly circular in nature, and at the periphery they are showing a circular groove. Okay, so this wall of the circumvallate papillae and that of the wall of the fungiform papillae, they have the test buds within it. Okay, so these are the number of papillae present there. In the posterior one third of the tongue, here there are the lingual tonsils. So here these are the lymphoid tissue buried in the posterior one third of the tongue. Okay, so this is the schematic diagram, three-dimensional diagram showing the papillae of the tongue, and along with that, here the small part of the lymphoid posterior one third part of the tongue is also seen here. This is circumvallate papillae, these are the filiform papillae, and these are the fungiform papillae. Okay, so we'll see the sites of this filiform, fungiform, and the other papillae. There are the different papillae seen over here. Here these are the filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, circumvallate papillae. These are the three main papillae seen here on the tongue. Along with that, there are also the presence of the foliate papillae. These foliate papillae, these are rudimentary papillae. Okay, so we'll see here what are the sites of these different papillae. The filiform papillae, these are numerous papillae. These are present everywhere on the dorsum of the tongue. These are with the pointed tops. Then there are the presence of the fungiform papillae. The fungiform papillae, these are numerous at the apex of the tongue. Okay, these are numerous at the apex of the tongue, and these are numerous here on the sides. These are seen with the red dots. These are the fungiform papillae. These are the fungiform papillae. Then circumvallate papillae. These are 8 to 12 circumvallate papillae. These are present just in front of the sulcus terminalis. Here this line, V-shaped line present here, dividing the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Here the sulcus terminalis. Just in front of that, whatever these large circular papillae seen here, these are the circumvallate papillae. And at the junction of this anterior 2/3 near the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, here these papillae seen here, these are the foliate papillae. But foliate papillae, these are the rudimentary papillae. So we'll just study these three different papillae, whatever the histological features of these three papillae. So first we'll discuss about this filiform and the fungiform papillae. So these filiform papillae are most numerous of that of the lingual papillae. These are covering most of the anterior 2/3 part of the tongue. Okay, so here these most numerous papillae seen here, these are the filiform papillae, and whatever the papillae seen here with the red dots, these large papillae, these are with the rounded top, these are the fungiform papillae. Okay, so these two papillae that we'll discuss. First about the filiform papillae. The filiform papillae, these are conical projections. These are about 2 to 3 millimeter in length. Okay, so here in the picture, here this is the filiform papillae with the pointed top. These are 2 to 3 millimeter in length. Their tips are keratinized. Here one can find out the keratinization. These papillae are distributed in parallel rows. The filiform papillae contain no test buds. They increase the friction between the tongue and that of the food. Okay, so here this is the dorsum of the tongue. It is showing this stratified squamous parakeratinized epithelium. Here this is the keratinization at the tip of the filiform papillae here, and in the wall there are no test buds. Okay, so these are the filiform papillae. Next to that, we'll discuss about the fungiform papillae. The fungiform papillae, their shape is like that of a mushroom. The narrow base with globular upper end, and they project above the filiform papillae. Okay, so here this is the fungiform papillae with the rounded top and narrow base. They have highly vascularized connective tissue, hence they visible like red dots on the dorsum of the tongue. The taste buds are present in the epithelium and on the dorsal surface. Okay, so this is regarding the fungiform papillae. Okay, next papillae that we want to study here, that is the circumvallate papillae. The circumvallate papillae are situated just in front of the sulcus terminalis. They are about 8 to 16 in number, and one measures about 1 to 2 millimeter in diameter. Okay, 1 to 2 millimeter in diameter. Each papillae is surrounded by the circular sulcus, or called as trench. So here in the picture, here this is the circumvallate papillae. the circumvallate papilla, it is dipped down into the surface of the tongue, and that of the fungiform papillae, it is the projection from that of the surface of the tongue. So that is the difference present there. And the circumvallate papillae is larger in size, and surrounding the circumvallate papillae, here there is a circular sulcus called as the trench. Okay, so this is the circumvallate papillae. More about the circumvallate papillae here. The circumvallate papillae, the stratified squamous epithelium covers the free surface. Okay, so here the surface is the stratified squamous epithelium. It is also covering the wall of the sulcus. It is also covering here the wall of the sulcus. It contains number of taste buds. Here you can find out number of taste buds within the wall of the circumvallate papilla. At the bottom of the trench, there are the opening of the ducts of the serous glands of von Ebner, which are situated in the submucosa. Okay, so underlying the mucosa here, there is a submucosa. In that here one can find out there are the serous glands of von Ebner. These serous glands, they open here with the ducts at the floor of this circular sulcus or the trench, and here this is the surface part of the circumvallate papilla. This is the wall. In the wall one can find out here there are the number of taste buds within it. The core of the circumvallate papillae, here it is formed by the muscles, then the connective tissue, and here in the floor there are the presence of the glands of the von Ebner. The secretion of these glands keep the sulcus rinsed. A core of the connective tissue supporting the vessels, lymphatics and nerves fill the papillae. Here. This is the core of the connective tissue supporting the vessels and lymphatics in the papillae. Okay. Lastly, we will see about the taste buds which are present in the circumvallate papillae. Here the taste buds, these are neurosensory epithelial structures embedded in the surface epithelium of the tongue. The taste buds are also present in the epiglottis, soft palate and the oropharynx. In tongue, they are present in the tongue, they are present in the epithelium of the fungiform and the circumvallate papillae. Okay, so in the tongue they are present the circumvallate papillae and the fungiform papillae only. They are not present in the filiform papillae, and along with the tongue they are also present in the epiglottis, soft palate and the oropharynx. Okay, so these are the taste buds present here. These are the taste buds. These are present in the wall of the circumvallate papillae, and they are may also seen in the wall of the fungiform papillae. The taste buds appear as that of the cut onion. They are oval or pale stand epithelial structures. They are 50 to 80 micrometer in length and 30 to 50 micrometer in width. Okay, so here this is the length 50 to 80 micrometer, and this is the width, that is the 30 to 50 micrometer. The length of the taste bud extends into the full thickness of the epithelium vertically. So whatever the thickness of the epithelium, in the full thickness of the epithelium there are the presence of the taste buds. The cells of the taste buds are longer and vertically oriented. Their tapering apical ends converge on a small depression or the opening on the surface of the epithelium. This opening is called as taste pore. Okay, so here this is the taste pore. These are the cells present in the taste bud. These are vertically placed. These are elongated here. These are vertically placed, and all the cells converge here at the surface point, and here they form a pore called as gustatory pore or the taste pore. Okay, so this is the structure of the taste bud. These cells are present there. There are three different types of cells present in the taste bud. The cells, different types of cells are the neuroepithelial cells or called as the receptor cells. Then the supporting cells and the basal or the stem cells. So here in the picture you can find out here these are the number of cells present there. So these cells, what are the pink cells present here? These cells, these are present at the periphery, and these are forming the surface cells. These are forming the capsule for the cell. Okay, all the cells, these are vertically arranged, these are elongated, these are broader in the center, and in the central broader portion of the cell there are the presence of the nuclei. Okay, so these pink cells in the diagram, these are forming the capsule, these are the peripheral cells. And after that, here these are the three different types of cells. Here these orange color cells seen here, these are provided by these nerve endings. So these are the neuroepithelial cells, or these are the receptor cells. Along with the receptor cells, these green cells seen here, these are the supporting cells. These are just merely supporting the cells. These are present at the center, and these are supporting here these receptor cells. Along with these two cells here, these small yellowish cells seen here, these are the basal cells, or these are the stem cells. These are the totipotent cells. They may develop, either the capsule cells, they may develop into the receptor cells or the supporting cells. So this is the structure of the test bud. Then lastly, the muscles of the tongue. The tongue is entirely the muscular organ. There are number of extrinsic muscles and the intrinsic muscles present in the tongue. So these intrinsic muscles of the tongue which is present there, it is form of different bundles. Few of the muscle bundles, these are forming the these are running parallel with the dorsum of the tongue, forming the superior longitudinal bundle. Few of the muscle bundles, these are again parallel with the tongue, but these are deeply situated, so these are forming the inferior longitudinal bundle. Some of the cells, these are transversely arranged, and some of the cells, these are vertically arranged. Okay, so whatever the section passing through the tongue, it shows the longitudinal section of the muscle as well as the transverse section of the muscle. Okay, so here in the picture one can find out all the different muscles present there. The here these are the number of muscles seen here, the transverse and the vertical muscles present there, and also the longitudinal running muscle. Here this is the main bulk of the tongue. It is formed by the extrinsic muscle, that is called as the genioglossus muscle. Here from the superior genial tubercle, here the muscle is going and forming the main substance, that is the genioglossus muscle. And here this is the intrinsic muscle fibers. These are arranged vertically, transversely and longitudinally. Okay, in between these muscle bundles, the amount of loose connective tissue, adipose tissue and the lingual glands are seen. Okay, so this is the gross feature, or the picture showing the gross picture of the muscles. Here is the histological structure showing the tongue and the different muscles seen here in it. So here one can find out here these muscles, these are longitudinally arranged here, these are transversely cut muscles present there. Along with this transversely, vertically and longitudinally cut muscles, one can find out here there are the presence of the glands in it. So here these are the lingual salivary glands here, these are the mucus type of glands, these are the serous glands present here. Okay, along with that here one can find out here the adipose tissue, the fat cell, the signet ring appearance cell present here. This is the connective tissue present here, and this is the mucosa. The mucosa is lined by the stratified squamous parakeratinized epithelium. Here this filiform papillae is there with the parakeratinized top. Okay, so here this is the structure of the tongue. Here the muscles are seen along with the serous and the mucus acini and that of the adipose tissue. Okay, so we have seen here the structure of the tongue. Here this is the slide of the tongue. It is showing here the surface. Here this is the dorsal surface with that of the number of papillae. So here whatever the pointed top, these are the filiform papillae. Whatever the rounded top, these are the fungiform papillae. This as is the anterior 2/3, only this filiform and fungiform papillae are seen here as the surface projection. Here the number of muscle fibers are present here in this and forming the tongue. Along with these muscle fibers, there are number of the serous and the mucous glands are there. Adipose tissue is also there in it. Okay, so this is the histological picture of the tongue. Here this is the filiform papilla. Filiform papilla, it is with the pointed top and the stratified squamous parakeratinized epithelium. Here this is the fungiform papilla. Fungiform papilla is present over there. In its wall there may be the presence of the test buds. This is the circumvallate papilla. As the circumvallate papilla, it is present at the junction of the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Here one can see here, this is the posterior part of the tongue. This is a section passing through the posterior part of the tongue, showing the circumvallate papilla. Here this is the circumvallate papilla with the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. It may be parakeratinized. Here this is the wall of the circumvallate papilla with the number of test buds within it. The test buds are occupying the whole thickness of the epithelium. The circumvallate papilla, it is surrounded by this groove called as the sulcus groove or the sulcus trench present there. At the floor of this sulcus, there are the number of glands of von Ebner. Here these are the glands of the von Ebner. There are the presence of the ducts. Through the ducts, here these cells, they pour their secretion into this sulcus. Okay, so this is the circumvallate papilla. Here these are the test buds seen. Here these are the test buds with this number of elongated cells present here, with this test pore at the center of on the surface. Okay, so this is regarding the tongue. Okay, so in this lecture we have seen that of the lip, tooth and tongue. That's all. Thank you.